got over that in that way?
I think probably, yeah. Well, I don't want it to sound like I was putting myself about or anything, but a couple of lovely summers. Just a couple of wonderful happenings that gave me a real lot of confidence, yeah. And I'll always be grateful.
How serious were you about art at art college?
Not at all for the first... Well, fairly. I mean, for the first year and a half, I was very interested in every aspect of it. Even though I was buzzing around a lot as well. I did get a kind of pride in the fact that I was getting somewhere with it. And that pride never went away. And then I kept hearing about this mystical place called the Royal College of Art, which of course you won't get into because you're a rough diamond, or you load of riff-raff, Walthamstow. All our teachers had been there, and they all were really still full of it. And then, after 2 years, I did get serious. I met people that had a big influence on my life, like Peter Blake, the painter, and it became a wonderful mission that a lot of us spent 4 years trying to get into the Royal College of Art, hoping we get there. You can't plan to get there, you can only work towards it. So, eventually, 6 of us did get into the painting school at the Royal College of Art. And from then on, I don't think anything that had ever happened to me since then, or before then, was me doing something I wanted to do as much to that extent as that.
More than music?
Oh, yeah, much more than music. I only started getting into music so that I could subsidise my artistic activities. I was only going to start a pub band. I mean, I'd just have a laugh, really. The Kilburn and the Highways. I thought it was such a great name that was good enough to start a band with.
So art was going to be the career, or were you still not interested in careers? It was just
no, I just wanted to do. I wanted to be a painter, basically. I didn't think about it as a career, more as much as something I wanted to do. I knew that I never wanted to go to work. I felt able to avoid that.
Do you still paint now?
I did an illustration of Elvis Presley for the Sunday Times about 9 years ago. That's the last time I picked up a pencil.
Why? Why'd you stop?
It's too bloody difficult. I did it for 12 years, and I think another 12 years I might have found out how terrible I was. So having started a band, or got amongst the band, it started taking more of my time. And then we got fed up with doing Elmer Cogan tunes all the time. And a friend of mine, Spate, encouraged me. He said, you can write Stand On Your Head, you can write funny little... So I started writing some soppy little lyrics, and Russell, the piano player, put them to music, and we started playing them as a way of avoiding other people's songs, really. Hey, man, you got a publishing deal? I didn't know what a publishing deal was. I had no idea of any of that, record contracts and things. I was simply just doing it for a crack, really.
Music means performance. Performance means getting on stage and being seen.
Yeah.
And yet, you don't reckon that the public really knew anything about your disability until you actually told them about it. Did you deliberately try to... Did you hide it?
I didn't. I mean, until there was a public, there wasn't a public. So until you're a so-called... Until you've been so-called well-known person, you haven't got what you can call a public. It's not your public or the public. I think once I remember doing a gig with the Kilburns in what is now called the Three Kings. It used to be called in Nashville. And after I came down for a cup of tea, standing by the bar, the bloke came up to me and said, you're putting it on. I said, putting what on? He goes, you're putting it on, limping on. I said, no, I'm not, I'm disguising it. And he went, no, you're not, you're putting it on. So I thought, well... And I remember the doctor said to me, you hide that very well, you know, hide that very well. I said, what? And basically, I didn't either hide it, disguise it, put it on. I just went out on stage. I didn't even think about it. I went out on stage. I microphone with a 3-pronged bass, which does help to keep you on your feet, like if you trip over the wires. And I never thought about it one way or the other. Didn't consider it at all.
So the guy who said you're putting it on, what did he think you were going for? The sympathy vote?
I think he thought I was giving it a load of Quasimodo-type drama or something. I don't know, really, what he thought I was putting on. Maybe he thought I was putting on the fact I couldn't sing. I don't know what. Maybe he thought I was pretending I couldn't sing.
What about gear? You know, what about the clothes you wore and that kind of thing?
Yeah, 7 years at art school can help on these occasions. I used to look lovely, really. I was wonderful. It was kind of slightly worn out, but quite glamorous. I mean, nothing cost more than a quid. Nothing was new.
What about when you got big? I mean, you know, rock music, the industry is all about image, and we're always hearing about when people become highly successful. Then that's when people start saying, "Oh, well, you want to look like this." And you know, did as far as your disability was concerned, did anybody try to actually interfere?
No, but I mean, we weren't that kind of outing, really. The idea of it wasn't. It was to be a success. It was to make a few quid and sell a few records. But it wasn't in order to be any kind of stereotype already. You see, you know, there was a time when you could go to any marketplace in Britain and you'd see a facsimile Rod Stewart standing outside a fish and chip shop with his hair all up and his certain trousers and a look and a belt. Or you could see David Bowie's walking about. Or, for real serious, you could see what Brian Ferry was wearing this week. And really none of us wanted to get either any cloning sort of situations going in the Matlock area. And one day I was driving around the front of Emma Smith Odeon. I see a bloke walking up the front steps. He had a brown Dr. Martin boot and a black one. He had a label on one of his boots with something written on it. He had a white silk scarf. He had all the kit that I was wearing that particular week. And he had it, and he was limping as well. And I didn't know whether he was really limping or what. I don't know, that was a bit confusing. I thought I'd failed when I saw him walking up the steps.
But I mean, you could have been a wonderful kind of trailblazer for disabled people if it became cool to be disabled.
Well, I mean, when you say it became, I always thought it was cool. So I didn't feel the need to proselytise that or go around framing that into commercial shapery.
You've brought me back in a way to the statement that your record, Spasticus Autisticus, made. Did it occur to you at that point, with the influence that you had and with the fact that you were very successful, that maybe you could be a spokesman, a spokesperson on disability?